is the Angel Next Door podcast, where we will talk about all things angel investing, what it is, who does it, how do we find them, what does it mean to invest in an early stage company. If you have ever wondered how you can affect the change you want to see in the world, then tune in to learn more. Hi, everyone. In this episode, I'm talking to the inspiring entrepreneur and wellness advocate, Nicole Meline. I first met Nicole in the very early days of Peloton, where she was one of the founding instructors. And she's going to tell us about her remarkable journey from Peloton to successful entrepreneur and the creator of Alter Together, a platform that encompasses movement, meditation practices, and transformative experiences. Nicole shares her insights on the power of aligning passion with opportunity, the essential role of wellness in business success, and the mindset shifts necessary for women in the world of entrepreneurship and angel investing. Discover how Nicole's holistic approach to wealth, wellness, and community building can inspire and empower you on your entrepreneurial or angel investing journey. Enjoy the show. Well, great. Hi, Nicole. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
I'm so excited to have you here today talking to us all about everything entrepreneur. You and I know each other from, oh my gosh, almost like 10 years ago when you first became a Peloton instructor. And I was one of the very early adopters. And I was, of course, one of your very biggest fans. And so I would love to hear a little bit about your journey. I know now you have Alter Together, which I absolutely love also. And I would love for you to just talk about, the journey that you've been on and how you've become a successful entrepreneur.
Oh, thank you. So a great banner for this conversation, I think, is our heart's work leads us to our heart's people. And I don't know, that just kind of tumbled out a few years ago. And that has definitely been a life lesson for me. And it's why for the last 7 years anyway, I've continued on an entrepreneurial journey for all of its opportunities and challenges, of course, because it's just been my experience that our heart's work leads us to our heart's people, that when you are following the desire of your heart, and in my experience, I've come across or created opportunities that I couldn't have imagined existed because I was following in the direction of my heart and trusting that where my passions and skill set was going to collide with the world's need was going to be something new, right? A new frontier to create. So I want to begin with that, I think, mantra for our audience.
Love that.
Yeah, so in that, I was on a path toward academia, towards teaching, and I had fitness as a side job, right? I was living in New York City, going to grad school at Rutgers, and it was either bartending or fitness because to have, to find a job that would allow weird hours to work around courses and classes. And so thankfully I chose the right direction there. And just at that time, the boutique fitness boom was starting to happen in New York City, this kind of new phenomenon of boutique fitness businesses as actually successful businesses, that possibility. And in other words, like taking fitness and wellness seriously, I think, as both an industry and as a priority in our own lives. So I started teaching in that just as Peloton was really, it was a concept. It wasn't yet even a full-fledged business. The studio wasn't yet open, but they had a Kickstarter campaign. And I remember when I learned about it, I loved the vision of course, the whole company and this possibility of not just offering top-level content and experiences to, the whole global community, but the fact that we could actually create community. So this could be this way of connecting for wellness-oriented people. And our conversation today is a testament to just the incredible people and especially incredible women that I've been able to connect with starting from that. So I was trusting my own passion for fitness in my work, and that it could actually become something that could support me in my mind just through grad school. But a few years into Peloton, as Peloton was really starting to take off, I realized not only that this was a big opportunity, but that oddly, all of my passions and skills for speaking, for inspiring, for kind of pastoring and walking with people through difficult scenarios and music, that this was all coming together in this kind of unexpected container. And that I hit this moment, and I had worked really, really hard to get into a PhD fellowship. I'd worked for about 10 years, aiming for that as a goal, going through various master's programs. And so to actually have secured that, was this amazing thing. And ultimately, after 2 years of coursework, I left the program because I realized that the container that I was working in, the container of academia, was too small now for all that I had realized I wanted to do, that I could teach in these really innovative ways and fun ways, that I was going to have a lot more fun working in the wellness and fitness world. So I left that program and was full-time at Peloton, and even was a master instructor there, training their kind of incoming instructors. And 3 years in, I left to essentially start my own enterprise. So what I offer now, and it took maybe about a year for the vision to unfold. I think that's really common especially with entrepreneurs, that I want to normalize having 50% vision or even less than
Right.
50% vision, because one of the things that I've definitely learned is that it's only by doing that we learn what something wants to be. So we have an idea, but also I believe that idea, that business, that enterprise, that community has a life of its own. And it's only by starting to create and really creating a culture that welcomes feedback, that, where it's a collaboration with our customers. And that was definitely something I really learned at Peloton. Peloton in the early days was really seeking customer input and feedback. So it was kind of making the customers a part of the team. And I think especially in a new business venture, it's such a powerful strategy to think about, how can you make your customer base actually feel like they're co-creating this thing with you. So they're invested in all kinds of different ways. But so again, move forward with 50% vision, because the rest it can only be revealed by starting.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that.
So now I offer my own platform you can find out all about it at nicolemeline.com/alter, but it includes movement, meditation practices, and also retreats, courses that are topics focused. And of course, I do one-on-one work as well.
I love all of that. In fact, we just had an episode where Susie DeVille came on, and she was talking about, she's the author of Buoyant, and she was talking about a lot of the same things that you're talking about, how important it is to use our creativity in order to take us forward. And I think, especially with entrepreneurs, we get so wrapped up in our head, and we're just like a go, go, go. And we have to, like, there's so much to do, and it's 24/7, and nobody else is going to take out even the garbage, or, do the very important sales call, all of the things. And so they're trying to just do everything, and they're not taking the time for the self-care, the creativity that could actually help propel their business even more forward.
It's so true. And I think it's maybe particularly true with women as well.
Yes.
We're often caretakers of all different kinds in our families. And so there's that additional full-time job that we're carrying. It's usually 2 full-time jobs. And this is, as an entrepreneur, which I've been for the last 7 years, I've of course had to do a lot of work around what I call wealth embodiment, my not just money mindset, but actually what is my whole story about money? What is my whole story about being a profit-driven business? Learning to be someone who loves sales, the engine of business, right? And so I've had to do a lot of work around that. I created this course that I just launched this last year called Sourced. And it's a deep dive. Literally, I really am using water as a metaphor there, of being in the flow of abundance. And through a lot of that work that I've done myself, I've learned that for a lot of women, especially for entrepreneurs in general, a glimpse of our abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset can be seen in how we're relating to our own bodies. So I try to live by is body before business. body before business.
Love
And
that.
right. And even just in those 3 words, I can feel how revolutionary that
Mhm.
feels. That who am I? How do I have a right? What a luxury. Who else is going to do all that needs to be done if I actually attend to the needs of my body? But first of all, you are your greatest resource. This will always be true. Your health is your greatest resource. Your energy is your greatest resource. As a leader, and I think that what separates a leader, a founder, an entrepreneur from an employee, essentially, is that you're working on the business versus in the business, right? So your
Yes.
greatest resource is your creativity. So we all know our creativity is completely bound to our physical energy. The more tired we feel, if we feel uncomfortable in our bodies or unwell in our bodies, there's no way you're going to feel creative. You're going to feel dull. You're going to feel self-defeating. But I've made this big shift in my life of thinking about working out and training from the goals of, say, what do I want to look like? Or, certain amount of miles I want to be able to run, or about weight that I want to lift. Those goals are great, but they're secondary to my body is a battery. And this is my way every single day that I recharge. Like, my workout is a chance to plug into the energy source, to ignite my own energy. So it's kind of a different way of thinking, of putting this first. And I want to throw this out to our audience. I want to challenge you for 1 week to put yourself first, and to put your health, your wellness first, to nourish yourself really well, to get at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep, to drink half your body weight in water every day, to do that for 1 week and just see, what is your decision making like? What is your creativity like? You're probably going to have 10 times the amount of ideas and insights into how you can build teams and delegate and create, help to support yourself. But I've actually created an offering around that called Ignite, which you can learn about at NicoleMeline.com/ignite. So a 7-day reset for your body and your spirit, to put your body before your business always.
I absolutely love that. And everything that you're talking about related to mindset, I think is just something we need to keep talking about. You were talking earlier about money mindset. And, obviously on the podcast, we're talking a lot about investing. We're talking about investing in entrepreneurs. We're talking to a lot of angel investors and how can they be even better angel investors. But I think a lot of that comes down to your mindset. And in some cases, especially for women, I feel like what we were taught in childhood, or even from the news and from the magazine and all the things, you know, did we do ourselves a disservice about how we're actually able to think about money now? And trying to make that mindset shift is hard. So talk a little bit more about that and how you've done that.
Oh, I love talking about this. I do think that we're in a transitional generation right now,
Yes.
where, if you're anywhere from 30 and above, we grew up in a world where there were far fewer women leaders. I mean, the fact that we have a female vice president right now, of course, unprecedented. The fact,
Yes.
to see the leadership that we've had in the US Congress, just in the last generation, in the last decade, looks very different in terms of the number of women in leadership. And of course, as you know very, very well, the percentage of women founders who get funding, the percentage of women founders who even begin is so much less.
That's right.
The number of women on boards of Fortune 500 companies, it's astonishing how far we have to go. But what I find hopeful is, I think that this upcoming generation, the women who are, first of all, we have more women in college now than men.
Yes.
We have a few percentage points more women buying homes than men right now. And so it is changing. Our sense of possibility is changing. And thanks to people like Brene Brown, our understanding of the importance of emotional intelligence, the importance of relationship building, the importance of vulnerability, which are skills that, for lots of cultural reasons, maybe women have been shaped to really hone. And I think what it is women have been allowed really to have, create these skills of connection, and men have maybe been culture, enculturated to downplay some of those things. But we know that women are this incredible resource of leadership, this incredible resource of emotional intelligence and mindfulness. And so, yes, we need to be leading, and we can, and we are starting to lead in all kinds of unprecedented ways. So that just to get that out there and acknowledge that if it feels like we're in uncharted waters, if it feels like we're trailblazing, a word I really love, we are.
Mm-hmm.
And that when I can look back at my, both sides of my parents' families, and there's not a single woman, I would say there's not a single woman entrepreneur, someone who has gone out and really believed in an idea enough to throw her resources and her time behind it, which is, I think, really what entrepreneurship is. So we're in this kind of in between time, right? And so I think that it's probably common and normal for a lot of women in particular to have to do more work on, and I say work in the best sense. I think work's all the fun and the juices in the work, but
Right.
to have to do more work on a sense of deserving to be wealthy, being really, and really what it comes down to is trusting ourselves with being a conduit of resources. And so we can create new habits and mindset around that just on the kind of micro level of our own personal finance, right? And taking some brave moves, even something like angel investing is this beautiful way of actually building trust in yourself as a conduit of resources. It's a conduit of generosity. And as our trust in ourselves, and I would even say our own body, like we can feel in our money story is very much a somatic experience, right? You feel in your body a kind of tightening or a kind of expansion in your relationship to money and wealth. But so I think that we can start to exercise. And one of the reasons that fitness has been central and always will be to the kind of work that I do is that it's it's in, this word exercise, right? Like we can train ourselves to become stronger. We can transform ourselves, body, mind, and spirit. So absolutely, whatever relationship with money that we have all inherited from our families, from our ancestors, from the stories that have shaped us, we can be the change makers in that. And I really view that as a way of ancestral healing too. Like the work that I'm doing is setting, in some kind of a way, is setting my great grandmothers free, and in a way that probably they wouldn't have been able to imagine.
I absolutely love that. And you said about angel investing being a conduit of generosity. I was like, yes. Um, I'm talking a lot, especially now that I have a book coming out later this year. But I talk a lot about doing good while doing well. And, angel investing it's tough. There's no liquidity for a long time, usually, sometimes 5, 7 years. We're trying to help these companies. It's never, roses and kittens like the whole time. Of course, there's
Yeah.
all kinds of problems with, building a company. It's hard work. And, if we just wanted to go out and make money, maybe, we'd be a day trader or something. I have no idea. But
Yeah.
that's not the point. The point is that we really want to be able to help be a change maker, bring the change that we want to see happen in the world. And how can we do that? Each and every one of us can help an entrepreneurial company, even if it's just like you were saying, like with your time, with your having an open mind and being able to help them into, their next phase. Maybe it's just that somebody and you could help network them into where they need to go. But there's just so many opportunities. And I think the more we keep talking about it, the more people will actually believe, like, hey, yeah, I can do that.
Absolutely. And I'm really intrigued by this similarity between the words wealth and wellness, right? So wealth has within it well. And in I really want in my life to define wealth in this very holistic way, like that to be wealthy is first and foremost to be well.
Yeah.
And I bring that up with this kind of theme of nurturing our bodies as our greatest resource, right? Body before business, but also because, you know, when you're talking about like with angel investing and having that it's a long game, right? It's a slow return financially. That's true.
Right.
But if we're viewing wealth in this very broad, expansive way, one of the things that an angel, you know, one of the benefits of angel investing is that you get to be a team member. You
Yeah.
you get to experience the joy, you get to experience the journey of walking alongside. And of course, this would be true of as being an advisor as well as a financial investor, but walking alongside a community that is, which a business is, that is creating something new in the world. And there, sure, it's great to get a payoff at the end, right? Financially.
Sure.
But I think that in all of the, you know, there's kind of this new era these days of kind of documentary, semi-fictional films about startups like Uber or like WeWork, and some of these are really negative, right? But but it's beautiful to see that what is often the most satisfying at, you know, when a business comes to its fruition, if it IPOs or there's a payoff in some kind of a way, what's more valuable are the relationships that were built along the way. And these two, you know, maybe it's an advisor and a founder, or an investor and a founder catching each other's eyes across the room, and this sense of, wow, look what we did. Look at the journey that we took together,
Yeah.
which I imagine an angel investor, it's a different kind of, it's a closer, more intimate relationship, right? Than just like a hedge fund funding a
Absolutely.
company from
Yes.
afar.
Like a
Yeah,
marriage sometimes.
totally. Yeah. So that part of the payoff, if even if there isn't the kind of financial payoff that you would want, there can be this incredible relationship payoff, creativity payoff. We did this thing and we learned all of this along the way, right? That if we're including in our definition of wealth, the health of our community, the health of our connections, then I mean, why wouldn't you?
Exactly. Yes, I love the words wealth and wellness coming together. Because, you know, sometimes when you think about riches, I was thinking about that word yesterday, and I thought, well, you know, so often you might think of that as, you know, I always think of like gold coins or something like that, but it can be love and relationship and community and all of these things. You know, I tell a story a lot about how my husband's really into golf, and you know, he meets all these people and he makes all these connections that at first I was like, I don't know. How do I get to make connections like
Right.
that? And then I
Yes.
started to find my own golf course. And that's kind of what we're doing here.
I love that analogy so much. What would your golf course look like? That
Exactly.
we get to
Yes.
answer that question, right? Yeah. And that's part of it, becoming investors. And I want to challenge our audience with that. I'm always calling people into thinking of themselves as leaders, thinking of myself as a leader. We're all leaders, even if we're leading the micro community of our family. I mean, first and foremost, we're leading ourselves, right? Calling ourselves into self-leadership. But at the same time, we're community builders, right?
Yeah.
So we get to decide what is the golf course that we want to create.
Yes. Yes. And I think even especially for women, we're very good at that.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Nicole, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And we're going to put everything in the show notes about where people can find you and where they can find the Ignite 7-Day Reset, because I know I'm signing up. And it was great to talk to you and connect with you again. And hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much. And thanks to this community. It's so wonderful.
Hey, thanks for listening. To connect with me, visit my website at marciadawood.com. And if you're looking to learn more about investing in the changes that you want to see in the world, sign up for Anne and Bill Payne's ACA Angel University classes. You go to angelcapitalassociation.org, all one word, to find out the schedule. Many classes are offered, everything from the angel investing basics, fundamentals, risks, due diligence, term sheets, valuations, returns and portfolio strategy. And for a deeper dive, there are advanced classes which include capitalization tables, startup boards, and exit strategies. If you're not already a member of the Angel Capital Association, you can become one for the low price of $295 for the year, and that will give you unparalleled access to discounts, free webinars with a huge archive of content, networking opportunities, and much more. We'd love to have you join us. All content for this website is informational and not intended to serve as legal, tax, accounting, or investing advice. While Marcia, that's me, does serve on the SEC Small Business Capital Formation Advisory Committee, my views are my own and not the views of the SEC or my fellow colleagues on the committee. Our speakers and hosts are thoughtfully selected for their educational value, but their opinions are their own and do not necessarily represent the views of the host, me, or the Angel Capital Association, and neither specifically endorse the use of presenters' products or services. Listeners of the podcast should consult their own tax, investing, legal, or accounting advisors before making important financial decisions. All warranties, including accuracy, completeness, and suitability for specific purpose, are disclaimed.